Hi guys, and welcome back to the Quick Slant on Green Bay Packer Nation and greenbaypackernation.com. Today we're addressing a question posed by one of our subscribers, Pro Gamer Galaxy. He asked the question in the comments section of the last video, who would you select in free agency that's still available? Trey Boston, Eric Reed, or Kenny Vaccaro? These are all three safeties in a field where the Packers are struggling, so we're going to discuss that in just a moment, so stick around. Okay, before we get started, as always, if you're new here and haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and tap that bell notification so you get notified when we post a new video. So let's start by running down kind of the history of these three players in case you are not aware of where these players have been and maybe some of their stats. Let's run down some of the particulars of each of these safeties and kind of go from there, and then I'll give my analysis of who I would pick, and hopefully drop a poll in, and hopefully you'll give your analysis of who you would like to see if the Packers were to go after one more safety in free agency. So as we know, the Packers' real weak area right now is in the defensive backfield. We've beefed up the defensive line. We have very good outside linebackers. We've got some up-and-coming inside linebackers. So as far as the defense goes, we're still a little lacking in the defensive backfield. Currently on the roster, we of course have Clinton Dix and Josh Jackson, who are probably they're slated to be our starting safeties in this coming season. In addition to them, we have Bryce Cantrell and Jermaine Whitehead. We also have Marwin Evans, and then we have a rookie, Raven Green, at safety. I think the question of which of these three, Eric Reed, Trey Boston, or Kenny Vaccaro, that we might pick up, who is still a free agent, kind of depends partly on who we already have. So, I don't think we have a whole lot of depth in that group of players. I don't see Jermaine Whitehead or Kentrell Bryce being the kind of player that we really want rotating in there on a regular basis. I just don't see them being the quality of player that we want to have on the field. So let's talk about these three guys. Trey Boston, he's a fairly young player, which I kind of like. He started. I think he played 3 seasons with Carolina and 1 season with the LA Chargers. He did have a pretty good season in 2017, which kind of positioned him. One would think kind of positioned him to get a role with some team somewhere. However, he's still on the market, and that is a question mark for me. He does have good instincts in zone coverage. I think he kind of sniffs out the ball and does a good job of making a play on the ball when he's in zone coverage. I believe he's a strong safety, so I'm not sure how much zone coverage he would play in the Packers defensive scheme. That said, 3 years at Carolina, and then after 1 year that seemed like a decent year, he was released by the Chargers. There's a reason behind that. There's always a reason for a team releasing someone into free agency. And so the question I have in my mind is, what is that reason? That's always the question I'm asking. Why was a player released, and is that enough to make us not want to pick him up? The thing about Trey that I'm really kind of reluctant about is the amount of money he might require. I wouldn't expect he might start ahead of Josh Jackson. I do not expect him to start ahead of Clinton Dix. just because I think Clinton Dix does a good job when he's playing in a safety position. I think he spent too much time trying to fill in, trying to make up for other players' mistakes, and so I don't really expect that Trey would take a starting role over Clinton Dix. At best, it might be Clinton Dix and Boston as the starters, but I wouldn't see him taking a spot over Josh Jackson either. So that's kind of Trey Boston. Eric Reed is a 5-year veteran. He's been starting since his rookie season. One of the things I really like about Eric Reed is that once he picks the ball off, he totally shifts into running back mode. He chews up yardage, follows blockers, does a great job making the most of an interception once he's picked the ball out of the sky. He's spent his entire career so far with the 49ers. One of the things that I'm not certain about Eric Reed, I think most of the interceptions I see from Reed have been just really terrible throws. Poor quarterbacking does not equal good defensive back play. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I think we all probably, well, I don't know about us all, but many of us are going to remember the game several seasons back where the ball tipped off of Jermichael Finley's hands and Eric Reed picked one almost off the turf in that game. You know, that it's good instincts and good reaction to the ball, but Finley should have had that pass. I've seen highlights with overthrown passes that Reed just happened to be in the right place at the right time. So I'm not really convinced that Eric Reed would be a starter on this team. He is a good hitter, and we need that in a strong safety, but I'm not sure that I would pick him out of the three. So let's move on to Kenny Vaccaro. Kenny played for the Saints. He played 5 years and, like Eric Reed, started his rookie season. He's had a couple of interceptions a year. He's not had a 5 interception season, but he also has not been blanked, which is something that you can't say about these other guys. So he's had an interception or two a season. He has forced fumbles, which it comes from his ability to hit. He's got tackles and sacks, which shows how versatile he is. You know, the Packers' defensive mindset is moving people around into a variety of positions, and an injury in the NFL mandates that a variety of players need to be able to play a variety of positions. So I like the fact that he's versatile. He was on IR. He was placed on IR in December of last year. In December of 2017, he was placed on IR. And here's where the really big question mark comes for me. He was placed on IR because he had an adductor muscle. His groin was torn completely from its bone. Can he come back from an injury like that is the big question mark, and I think the reason why he's still in free agency and hasn't been picked up by anybody yet. I think he was released by the Saints not because of the injury, but because they have a lot of depth in safety at the safety position. So I think that's why the Saints released him. They just didn't need to wonder whether he was going to bounce back from that injury. They had pieces in place that could take his position and do just fine. And so that's really the question for me is, can he come back from an adductor injury like of that magnitude? I think we all know how Clay Matthews' groin injuries have hampered his ability to do his job. It can be hard. I mean, hamstring injuries, if you've ever had a hamstring or a groin injury, you know that trying to run is not the easiest thing. Trying to fight through that injury is not the easiest thing. If you've got a rib injury like Brandel Cobb had, you can play through stuff like that, and yeah, it hurts, but you can still get your job done and get it done effectively. With a groin or a hamstring injury, it takes it off your speed, and your reaction time is reduced. So, that is a big question mark. So that is the 3 players. And I'm going to pop a poll up here because I want to hear what you guys think about this. But if I were to answer this question, I would say that Kenny Vaccaro is the guy I would pick. I think if he can come back from the injury, he would add a lot to this team in a position where we don't have a lot of depth. He doesn't have a whole lot of years in the league, but he would definitely add veteran presence in the locker room, where we really only have Clinton Dix as our veteran presence. So I think that's who I would pick. I would pick Kenny Vaccaro as the one free agent safety that Pro Gamer Galaxy mentioned that is available, that I would think that we would want to pick up if we had a chance or if we decided to. So let me know what you think, and definitely answer the question in the poll. If you know somebody who would enjoy joining in the conversation with us, send this video to them in a share, and until next time, go Pack.